Good day and welcome back. So we're going to go ahead. I got some more work done on this Smersh, and it's a little frustrating. This particular video is a little bit longer than some because I find myself catching things that I don't see either in the instructions or that I'm misreading in the instructions or just that I do wrong. So this one, fair warning, is pretty much an experience in probably what not to do, or so you can kind of learn from my mistakes. But I do point out some of the challenges that come with this, and how I'm changing up a little bit the assembly instructions, or at least the assembly order. But I kind of vocalized through all of that quite a bit, so I don't need to babble about it now. So let's go ahead and cut to it. Okay, so I've gotten this much done, step 25, and I set that aside, and that's the frame. And that's all been primed black, and I have decided the paint scheme I'm going to go with. I know the last video said I was going to figure out the paint scheme, and then I didn't, and so forth. So the scheme I'm going to go with is this one, where the bottom part's black and the top part's Russian green. Just because it's got a little bit more interest to it. Might go back and do this, but I doubt it, just because I kind of want to just work more on the model than the painting. So that's done. This is something I do want to point out. You do have, so this doesn't tell you where basically, but this piece goes together, and it is this part here. You can tell because it's launch tube, and then that goes here. So this, you do this part, then down to here where you have this piece and this piece go in, and then so you've got the arrow that kind of goes here, here, here. This one they didn't tell you, so there you go. The other thing I will point out, and I didn't see this at first, so you have these pieces here that we're doing this, and I'm going through doing it, and I missed seeing the polycap. Right now, interestingly, this in the bag that has this assembly, you have the rope, this, and then these polycaps. Right, it's in this bag here. Right, so that comes together, and I missed that the polycap goes in that hole. Well, I went back, oh, okay, I can just put it in, but no, I can't, because basically the way this is done is your polycap will fit there, and then when you put this other inside piece here, get my fingers here, right? So you drop this guy in here, right, and get him in, but when you drop this bad boy in, that covers it. So it actually does need to go on in a way that, you need to make sure you put it on before you put this on, or you'll be in the boat I was in where you had to, soften it up and pull it back out. And apologize for bouncing that. Come on, fingers. There we go. So I'll keep going. Basically now I've got those in. I just wanted to call that out because they're there. And like I said, I didn't see it with this one. And then when I went to do that, I saw it, and then I was like, oh, okay. So, that's just a little bit of a getcha. I won't say getcha. It's just, paying attention. Apparently I wasn't reading far enough ahead. So I will go ahead and keep moving and, finding the parts. The nice part is, so far, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm getting to use the, or we're not bouncing around from 50 different sprues. So far it's all been on the M. Now, of course, there's ends, but a lot of this stuff is actually on the M sprue, which is kind of nice. It's kind of nice to have your work be all on the same sprue so that you can find the stuff and find the pieces you're looking for. Overall, I will say the engineering of the sprues has been pretty good because I've been able to find just about everything I needed. So now I have this assembly, and the other thing now I am going to point out, this doesn't fit well, and so I'm having to go back and before I put these two pieces together, I'm going to need to do this. Now there's a point, you can hear that clicking. that does not glue in. Now there's this little ridge here, and then inside here there's these, it's all ridged with these little channels. And you can hear that click, right? And that's that ridge as it extends. But the thing is, I have to go back and carefully glue this so that I can seal this up and yet keep this loose, or keep this so that that doesn't get glued. So I have to finish that, and then I'll put this together and we'll move on. So we'll keep moving on, and if I run into anything else, we'll come back. Okay, one other thing I wanted to call out, because it's not, again, it's not entirely clear, but so this piece here is on the T sprue, and this is that rubberized kind of thing stuff where they're, you know, these all these wires and hoses are there to imitate wires and hoses. So that piece is this piece here. I'll give you a picture. Right, so that's it. Now this is pointing to these connectors, right? So these will go down and they'll connect to that. But what's not clear is how, like, that tells you the tip goes in here. But the piece they're missing to point out is these right here, those pieces right here, they go into those slots right there. So once you put that one in, slot this in, glue it, then slot this in, and then you can glue those in. So it's not entirely clear in the instructions that that's how that goes, but that's how that goes. So I'll go ahead and do that. I just wanted to call it out. And here we are, another getcha on these instructions. So just to point out, as is typical with this, there's a lot of pointing things out in the instructions where it's not clear. So right there, N31 to M4, and it kind of points out the fact that there's an indentation on the other side of that piece. I'm going to show you a picture. Okay, so there, that showed you what M4 actually looked like to get that piece in. So that's how that goes in. I did need to sand that down just a little bit, and again, I apologize because I'm up close and I'm still dealing with my setup. So, you know, because I look at this from probably 18 to 24 inches away, I actually had to get down and look to see that that's this really, really faint outline to show that that goes there. And I'm like, really? You could have drawn this the other direction, you know, just split that and shown the other direction, because there's another piece that you really need to be clear about. They're showing how M5 attaches to this assembly, so the launch tube rotating assembly. What they don't point out, this piece right here. So on here, you're putting this in, and that piece is that groove bar right there. And yes, I need to touch up the painting. But do you see that hook right there? And you can see the, just barely there, is that rotating knob piece right there. So there is this bar here that has the teeth that mesh up with that. And then that piece that you've made that does this catches that hook right here. So that's your guide for those. This drawing, let me pull this up. Yeah. This drawing does not point that out anywhere. It doesn't show you that. So that's something you do want to see. It all makes sense when you look at it, but again, I'll be honest, I was more fiddling with trying to get this on and work on that teeth. I totally missed the fact that I was missing those until I looked and saw that this was on the outside, so I had to take it apart and do it again. And again, I'm going to go back to one other piece, or one other statement on this, and that's this piece right here. We go through all of that. Now, I went through, you know, just a moment ago in your time, and pointed out gluing these all on, and there's that extra piece right there, right, and how all this forms, and that's all from one of these sheets. In a previous video, I mentioned the whole concept of, complexity for complexity's sake. So we have all of that nice detail right there. And then you take this cover and cover it up. So that cover goes on and covers it up. So and you can see the wires there. So what I need to do is figure out, what kind of detail painting, if at all, I'm going to put on those. And then I'll glue that on. So that's intentionally not glued on. All right. So that's that. I will now let that set up, and then I'll move on doing these parts and move on. So on to those. All right. I'm doing step 30 now. The stabilizing pad, and I'm doing this part. So I'm starting with, this is actually G39, and I got to point this one out. There's 2 of these Q12 parts. There's 2 of these Q12 parts. I say again, there's 2 of these Q12 parts on this one piece, and there's one for the other side too. So you're putting on 4 of those. I'm not going to harken back to that whole complexity for complexity's sake. And I suppose that's in pretty decent detail, but my goodness. Those pieces are awful tiny, and that's some awful silly detail. I don't want to say very silly, but it's awful microscopic. So, all right, I'm going to keep going on this. Just be careful, be aware. Yeah, so far so good. Okay, so let's talk about mistakes. So I was following the instructions. I eventually did go ahead and attach this piece to the undercarriage, because this is where these pieces attach, and then the hoses that go out attach to the underside of that part you put on. So these attach to the undercarriage, and then the hoses attached to this top piece. So it was important to go ahead and actually put this piece on. All right, so go ahead and do that. I was going to leave it off for painting and so forth, but I ended up not, so that I could lock that in. These go on, the way this goes on, it goes on fairly well. You just need to, again, there's a lot of tight fit, but you get it to work. These go on, again, tight fit, but it works. Next step is do the tires, attach the tires. My recommendation is do the tires, do not attach the tires. So let me explain. I did attach the tires. In so doing, I did break the mounts for this one and this one. I thought when I was doing it that I needed them on so that I could work the other pieces on, right? So that I needed to be able to work around them. And then as I got to thinking about it, then I realized, maybe I don't want them on so that I can actually get to it and do the weathering. But at that point I had already mounted them, and then they are, like I said, these here, and you can kind of see there, right, where some of the paint had come off. Those are places where those mounts are good enough to hold, but they're not good enough to really fight against. And the poly caps that are in these, the way the poly caps fit with the within the wheels is so tight that those mount points break. So now the wheels are on, and I'm going to have to figure out how to do all the weathering and everything around the wheels. And I probably can, right? It's just going to be a little fiddly. But what that also means is I'm now rethinking how I'm going to do the rest of this. Now, the other thing I want to point out is, see, that's a little loose. That's a little loose. Where these things mount, right? It mounts there, and then this point right here. and it clicks in, but it's still a little loose. So, and unfortunately, it's like right where your hands want to go to pick up the thing. So it's an awareness thing. So my next step, right, the next step I'm going to be doing, and this is where I'm starting to think ahead again, sort of ish. Next step is to do the taillights. Now the taillights go on all by themselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do them, set them off to the side, put them on last, so that I can paint them up and not have to worry about them getting, wait to the last minute to where I'm doing the actual final weathering, so that'll work. I am now doing the fenders, front fenders, the right and left fenders. I'm doing the fender pieces now. And they're going to go over top of here and here. And then there's also the rear fenders, which will get done, etc. Now, this step here, these, went ahead and did these, right? So I got those done. The only thing I did not put on was the taillights. They do call out different colors for those, so I have those ready. These guys are going to get attached later to, I'm pretty sure there's another piece here where they go on. Where is it? Thought I'd seen it. Yeah, here we go. So N1 and N2, these get attached to that, and then those drop on. So I'm going to prep the fenders, but I'm not going to put the fenders on, so that I can actually do the weathering of this thing for the wheels and such. Then I can drop the fenders on. Then I can do the top part of the weathering. I think you can see what I mean. Anyway, that's where I am. And I think at this point, I've got some more thinking to do on how that's actually going to work better than anything. Like I said, the thing that I wish, see, now I'm sitting here looking at that. I kind of have to put the fenders on because of this piece here being relevant later. So now I'm so these parts, I can't, it looks like I can't not put the fenders on. Maybe I can. I have to look and see how these go. But it's looking like, yeah. So these guys here, I can probably not put the front fenders on. And yes, I'm thinking about this as I'm talking. So that gives you a bit of an idea of what you have to do when you're working with this thing. You've got to really think. And I'm kind of the opinion, maybe what I want to do is, I really don't know. The short version is I'm really regretting putting those wheels on. I can try to take them off, but I feel like in so doing, I'm going to run the risk of breaking those mounts. So I'm going to make an attempt here, see what I can do, see if I can apply enough pressure to get that, or enough force to get that off. And you can see it's okay. I got one off. So I think what I'm going to do is spend some time and do what I can to get those off, so I can put those together and do the weathering, the undercarriage, and do all that, and then put the tires on last. Anyway, that's my plan. It's a plan. We'll see how well that goes. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try. I'm going to give it a try and let's see what happens. And I probably should just go ahead and, yeah, see, that one broke. Bright side, I know how that breaks. This one also broke. What I could do, oh yeah, you got that one off. Broke. 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 Did not broke. Okay. Okay, I got them off, and I only broke only broke half of them. That's kind of cool. So I'm going to go back and put those on now that, I kind of can. Since the other thing that's interesting that they do say when you're putting on these is the orientation of the wheels. So the tread has an orientation. See how these kind of arc down toward the front. So you want to put them on the sides where they're arcing down toward the front, so when you're on the other side, when you're making these wheels, you actually make them sided. All right, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to fix the wheels that I broke and then move on to the next steps. Yay. Well, that was an exercise in frustration. Got it fixed. Again, you kind of saw it. The wheels go on tight. But like I say, I would recommend when you get to step 33, hold off the wheels, wait till last. They do go on snug. So I don't know. I think I may just want to sand those down to make them go on a little bit easier before I get to doing the thing. But I feel like, weathering the undercarriage and weathering the whole body is going to be just that much easier to do without the wheels on. And this way, with them off, being able to do that, I can now go ahead and put on all the fenders and so forth. So I'm going to move forward on that. Now I will, so there's tools here. These are the front fenders. There are tools. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint them and do the painting for those so that I can get some of this detail painting done while they're still on the sprue. Attach them, move forward, get these things put on. And then, then we'll move ahead. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it done. Excuse me, let me rephrase. I'm going to call this video done, this stage finished. I'll get those fenders put on, and then we will move on when we pick up the next one. I'll have done that part, and we'll be moving on to step 36, which, if I can get my camera to focus, thank you very much. Step 36, which is doing the battery pack when this is the stuff here in the front. So, we'll go ahead and we'll call that done for today. And I hope that this is entertaining. You guys, please, again, follow along with my mistakes so that you guys don't make them. I understand. And again, you experts, thank you very much for any input and suggestions that are done politely, and understand that I am fumbling along and letting you guys watch me fumble along so that folks who are doing things don't get caught with the same traps I do. So may be obvious to some, but clearly, since it's not obvious to me, I imagine it's not obvious to everybody. So until next time, thank you very much for watching. Hope it's entertaining or helpful. And until next time, happy modeling.